I found my sunglasses. So, Emily, what?
Were they lost to you?
I mean, I knew they were around.
Did you know where?
Were they on the table right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew they were around.
Okay.
I just hadn't they hadn't occurred to me until I saw them put at pretty almost eye level with me.
Right.
To put them
when
on
they
my
were,
eyes.
Yeah.
Emily, I understand you've written a poem for us
I have.
to read at the beginning here.
Yeah.
I have it on my iPad for Emily. You've been working on this for how long now?
It's really like, one time Picasso was like in a cafe and a lady was like, oh, like, can you draw something on this napkin for me? And he like drew something on the napkin. And then he was like, that's going to be $30,000.
Wow.
And she was like, what? But you just
Really?
drew this on a napkin in like 15 seconds. And he's like, but everything I've ever done has led up to me drawing on this napkin.
Right.
So in a way, I've been working on this poem my whole life.
Okay. How long would your napkin drawing portion of this have been?
2 weeks.
You've been working on this part for 2 weeks. It's a political poem.
Oh, yes, that's my expertise.
It's not necessarily a political podcast, but I know we're not really afraid to get our hands dirty.
Right.
As
and
it
I
were.
felt like I had to say something.
Get in the mud with the slingers and sling a little back.
Hey.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, you can read it for us if you'd like.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd ask. Okay.
All right,
This poem
go for it.
I've entitled Dear Elon. Wake up, Mr. Musk, Mr. Musk. Democracy is dying, but in you want us to trust? At this rate, we'll be dust by dusk. Fox News lobs soft balls like batter up. More like better butter up, because we are toast. Rockets explode, Congress implodes, lobbies exposed. Is there an app for that? Tesla's returned, treasures burned, and it's pleasure you've earned? Is there an app for that? Scary salutes, swearing in suits, hair plugs, fake tooths. Is there an app for that? You say X is the everything app, but I gave you an X-ray. Yup, everything's crap.
Wow, that was really amazing.
Thank you.
I think that might turn the tide of our political discourse.
Yeah, if we could signal boost that, I think it could really
Signal boost it.
I've really been honing my pencil.
I can tell.
That's
I'll
what I
have to cut a
call
little
sharpening it.
Man. I'm going to switch back to normal Maxwell.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Goodbye, cool Maxwell.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get out of frame for this. You don't have to see this transformation. It's like the fly.
Whoa!
Hey, guys. Just me. Just me.
Maxwell,
Just me.
do you remember, like, the first story you ever wrote?
No, but I remember one of the first stories I ever wrote. I
Yeah.
wrote a story, in I believe it was the 7th grade. I was at Harvest Community School. Negative shout out, Harvest Community School. And I was in an English class, and we had to write a story for whatever reason. And I wrote a really violent story about two children being in their school after hours, and somebody attacks them, and then like it was like one of them gets like stabbed through the back, and it like comes out the front with this like big knife, and there was a bunch of other stuff that happened. And in my mind, it was kind of like a dark action sort of thing. And then like my teacher was really upset by it, and my mom was really upset by it. And then it was like, you're looking at me so seriously.
Sorry. Honestly, I think I put my therapist face on.
Yeah, you totally did. And then I was like crying, talking to my mom about it. I was like, I can't believe what I've done. I read it and it's disgusting to me.
It is really sad. You were in 7th grade,
I was in
though?
7th grade.
You didn't write before that?
No, I did write before. I just said that's one of the earliest
okay.
that's an early occurrence. I used to write a lot of
'cause it was
songs a lot of
traumatic.
the time, you know? I wrote like a lot of songs, but I remember that being one of the first times I was like, I'm going to write a story, like this character, that character, more than just like kind of playing around. I had like a small comic strip that I wrote in 4th grade. also at Harvest, but with a teacher that I liked named Miss Bird. And would you know that my grandmother, Di, shout out Di, my grandma, is currently on a cruise, or was just on a cruise, and she was playing like games every night with this family from Jacksonville, and my mom called me and said that she had asked Di a couple times who the family was, and I was like, you wouldn't know him. Jacksonville's too big of a city. You wouldn't know him. And didn't tell my mom. It was Miss Bird. It was my fourth grade teacher, and she remembered me so well, and she apparently had a very fond impression of me.
Aww.
And asked all about how I was doing and stuff. So, I went to 9 different schools growing up, as you know. So for the 8 other schools, know that it was you. It wasn't me. Miss Bird liked me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought that was really sweet.
I was really into writing in like 4th grade. I thought I wanted to go to La Villa, which is like a local arts middle school.
And you did.
Yeah, but I thought I wanted to go for creative writing.
Okay. I don't think we've talked about that before.
I was like, 4th grade was like the year that we like learned how to write creatively at my school. And I really liked it. But I mean, my stories, I like wrote a story about like being a pumpkin and like trying to escape Halloween because like they wanted to carve me.
Great idea for a kid's story. That's Chicken Run.
Is it?
Yeah. You've never seen Chicken Run?
I don't know. I'm sure.
Chicken Run's good.
No, yeah, I don't know if I've seen Chicken Run. I wrote a poem. I also used to have a lot of guilt as a child for like random things, you know?
And as a child.
And I wrote a poem.
You don't do that now.
I wrote a poem kind of like working through my guilt about like abandoning regular pencils for my new mechanical pencils.
Oh, babe. That's so sad.
Well, I didn't know it was sad at the time. It's just kind of sad now that I felt guilty about that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing at the time like that at all.
On a different note, in like 7th grade, I wrote a poem about, we had to like, they would like give you different formats you had to write, and like we had to write an ode, and I was in my big purse era.
Okay.
So I had giant purses because also my middle school didn't allow backpacks in the hallway,
right.
So you had to have a big
That's
purse.
a smart idea for a school.
Right? They wanted you to go to your locker, but it's like, who actually does that?
I was so sorry, not to just a small interjection here. As I said, I went to 9 different schools growing up. One of them was Darnell Cookman, which is one of the magnet schools here in town, and they had one-way locker. Like,
that's so
you had
dumb.
to walk one way down the hallway. You weren't allowed to go back. I guess, hypothetically, it's ostensibly to, manage traffic, but I think it was just a control thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the school. I came in, like, in 8th grade, Like, everybody had been there for 2 years already. I wasn't familiar with, like, schools like that. And I kept going, like, the wrong way because I didn't know my way around. And I kept getting in trouble for it. I got detention.
Yeah, that's messed up.
In the second week ever at that school for asking the person next to me for a sheet of paper because I hadn't been able to get to my locker to get paper out of my locker to bring to that class.
That's like what happens in a movie.
I know, it was crazy. Yeah.
Well, I wrote an ode to my big purse because it was very helpful at the time. I would keep books in it. I would put a calculator in it. I took 2 like foot-long Subway sandwiches into the movie theater.
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And now your purses are tiny.
Yeah.
Very small.
My purses are pretty tiny
My
now.
bag is bigger than yours.
That's true.
Yeah.
But also, like, I feel like the pendulum has really swung. Like, big bags aren't super in right now.
That's true. You don't need that much to go out. I only have a bag because I take my pills when I go somewhere.
Well, I think the big bag has been replaced by the tote bag.
Yeah, that's true.
Which
that's
is
fair.
very popular.
Yeah.
And
it's so simple. I feel like it's the same with wallets. Like, everybody used to convince you that you needed, like, all of these different pockets. Like, the Ridge wallet right now is like...
that the metal one?
It's the metal one. It's a tactical wallet. Oh. It's probably fine, but I don't need my wallet to spring my cards out
We know someone who has it. I don't remember who.
I wonder, does Britt have something like it? We had got Britt her wallet, right?
We did?
Didn't you get her a wallet?
Oh, it's like a wallet clip thing that she wanted.
Right.
But it might be something tactical.
but she's cool.
Yeah, we like her.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think that stuff is a little oversold. Although now that I wear mostly pants from the women's section of the store,
Yeah.
I completely understand.
Yeah, what have you learned?
Why not pockets? I know it's like obvious. I know everybody said it, but there is no reason not to make that fabric a little bit longer so you can put your phone and stuff in there.
Absolutely.
Like in your wallet. Like I have a regular little wallet. It's not a big wallet. It doesn't fit in my pockets of my pants.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's, their deal with the purse industry.
What is their... I mean, I guess they also sell purses.
Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere that sells pants usually also sells purses.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question for you. Does, like, Madewell sell purses?
I actually don't know.
Because, like, why could
They
you...
have jeans, yeah.
Why would they not make... Do they have full pockets in their pants?
Well, back pockets are usually fairly reliable.
But you should have 4 options. You got it there. They do the seam. They do everything. They could just make the fabric...
You know about the...
Probably 3 inches... 2.5 inches longer, and you could fit like a full-sized iPhone in there.
You know about the history of pockets?
I don't think so.
Would you like to?
Yeah.
So pockets used to be like external pouches that like weren't actually attached to your clothes.
Okay.
And so they were kind of like a layer you would put
that makes
on.
sense.
And so like it would be like you'd have like your underskirt, like the petticoat, whatever. Then you would have like basically a belt with like your pockets
Your
and like
utility belt. Your
and like then you would have something over it that might have slits so you could access it, or you would wear them on the outside like totally, you know. And then like as like
this is Pride and Prejudice era.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like as fashion progressed, they like became integrated, but like the lumps were unseemly for women because it didn't accentuate your silhouette. And so that was like why pockets originally were like left out of women's clothes in that way.
Women used to... It basically looked like you were a tube with an umbrella attached to the bottom of you. You couldn't have pockets under there? You know what I mean? About those dresses?
Yeah, I'm talking
you'd wear like
a little
a corset,
bit...
and then you'd have like like a balloon under
What was the word? It's like a... Well, like
petticoat.
No. Like the thing that's like a hoop skirt, but there was like a word that I think starts with a B.
Like it was literally a structured out thing.
Yeah. It was like a hard like boning situation. And I want to call it like
boning. Yo, pause, bro.
Okay. Boning refers to hard like things in a corset, like those structured lines. That's called boning.
That's crazy.
You can use zip ties or get like actual like little metal poles.
Wow.
Anyways, I was going a little bit more of a time jump than when people were were they called like buttresses?
That sounds good to me because that's like a architectural term for a curved structure.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was making more of a time jump. Like pockets back then used to be a pouch, and then like modern clothes, like as like clothes were becoming more modern, like what we consider like normal clothes today, the pouches were unseemly on a woman's silhouette. Okay. And so that's why they got turned into purses.
I would like to... I know this is a little bit off the track, but it's related. Did you see that Tony Hinchcliffe is coming to Jacksonville with the Killers of Kill Tony, the people on his panel?
Really?
Yes. And so I keep getting this Instagram ad for it. And he's wearing, his like slim suit.
Okay.
But his pocket has like a gigantic square in it. And I'm just like, you didn't take your phone out of your pocket for the photo shoot?
Come on now.
You're an idiot.
I don't know what he looks like.
Really?
Yeah. Is he ginger?
No.
Oh.
He looks pretty normal, but like if you know his personality and his jokes, then you look at his face and you go, God, of course that's what you would look like, But that's just so crazy to me. And I will say this, it's not, I think it's more on the photographer than it is on him.
That's fair. Because
like he shows up. He's not a model. He's not a model. He's purportedly a comedian. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the
Get that
photographer.
out of your pocket.
Or like
get that out of his pocket.
There are certainly like so many people standing around when that photo's taken.
Definitely.
Like wardrobe.
I don't use I use Lightroom. I've never used Photoshop, but I can't imagine that you can't get that out of there. right?
Yeah,
You got to be able to smooth that over. That's got to be pretty easy.
You could give him a second head if you wanted.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Emily, I'd like to do a quick pivot.
Yeah.
I want to talk about. I don't remember how we got to where we were at all.
Doesn't matter.
That's so true. I'd like to talk about some arts and entertainment news.
Oh, okay. You have headlines?
I have some headlines.
Come here.
I have a headline that really appealed to me. So this is from World of Real. I mentioned this story to you, but I didn't give you the details on it.
Okay. Real.
REEL. So
Okay.
this is a site that posts movie news. This is a story about money in the arts.
Okay.
Okay. Netflix gave 47 Ronin director $55 million to make a sci-fi epic, but he blew the money on cars, stocks, and crypto. Now, for anybody familiar with our episode with Emily Campbell, they know that in terms of like our income, we have far, far, far less than $55 million worth of spending money.
Yeah.
I would say probably 55 million and maybe like $1,500 less than that. Than
Right.
$55 million.
We're 1,500 in debt. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
in terms of the publication, which doesn't bother me at all. But this guy got $55 million.
Right.
So I'd like to kind of detail out for you how this got spent on the production and
Okay.
exactly what went wrong and
Can
where.
I say that you did read me this a couple days ago, and something about the way it's worded, and because I don't have context clues because I don't know what 47 Ronin is, it was very confusing for me to understand
fair.
this headline.
47 Ronin is an old movie that got made into a new Americanized version starring Keanu Reeves,
Okay.
who GOAT, obviously. No Keanu slander on the pod ever. Only Keanu praise. I'm sure he's great in the movie. I haven't seen it because it's supposed to be terrible.
Okay.
So this guy made a terrible movie, like over a decade ago or more.
Okay.
Then Netflix said, "How about we give you $55 million to make a movie for us?"
Okay. And was that like his only movie or like
I don't know of
Okay.
anything else he's done.
he didn't like become super successful and have like a great movie after that?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. I don't know if he ever made another thing that like broke even or
Okay.
something like that. But like, as you know, like I'm no more directors than the average person, especially more action directors.
Yeah.
I don't know this guy as being
Okay.
anything other than the 47 Ronin guy, you know? So he was supposed to direct a sci-fi epic called Conquest for Netflix.
Okay.
They gave him $55 million, and unfortunately, he has been indicted. And he owes Netflix $11 million.
That's it?
Back. That's it. I don't know exactly how they get all their numbers. So he won a bidding war for the show Conquest. Oh, Netflix won the bidding war for
Okay.
his show. So people were bidding on the idea of this show.
Okay.
Netflix won it. It says, however, red flags started to appear when Rinch, which is his last name, his name's Carl Rinch, sent out emails to colleagues claiming he had, quote, discovered COVID-19's secret transmission mechanism, and that he was now, quote, able to predict lightning strikes,
Oh.
end quote.
Wow. And they're trying to silence this guy.
They're trying to silence him, even though he's obviously working on a much, much, much higher level than anybody in the Netflix
Big
office.
brain,
Big brain. Big brain. Here, this is what he looks like, by the way.
Oh.
So hold on for our
The camera's up there.
viewing audience. Thank you.
I don't think
he
it's-
he looks great.
He looks like a man in the prime of his life who is well.
He looks like a man who's perhaps burdened by too much knowledge. Is that fair to say?
Let me see. Yeah, look at his eyes.
Exactly. They're heavy. He also started spending Netflix cash. Some of his purchases included crypto investments, 5 Rolls Royces, high-end mattresses, designer clothes, and legal representation for his divorce proceedings. Now, Emily, does this look like a guy who's going through a divorce to you?
Absolutely.
Isn't that a shame? Look at what his ex-wife has obviously taken up his soul.
Wow.
Did she ask for half his soul?
I think she got
I
it.
think she got it.
Oh, man.
You lost it somewhere.
That is so crazy to get a
Yeah.
paycheck from your job and be like, He's literally doing 55 Rolls Royces, 55 milkshakes.
Would it be crazier to know that he spent a bunch of it on Dogecoin, and also that he is now he had before being indicted countersued Netflix and said that they actually owe him $14 million more dollars?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough.
So anyway, that's my arts and entertainment news there.
Wow.
And I just want to say to big corporations like Netflix, Amazon, it's really messed up of you to go after artists in this way.
Mm-hmm. You should give us a chance.
Give us a chance.
That
is honestly my...
We don't even need 55 million. Give us $1
million.
See what we can do with it.
See what we can do. I would make a good movie for $1 million.
Yeah.
Ryan would make a great movie for $1 million. That is honestly my thought on that, is I have like a couple of friends who do movie stuff. And it's like, if they had $55 million, the movie they would make will be unbelievable.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even need it.
No,
they give $45 million back.
Yeah.
And like shoot on location wherever in the world they wanted and figure it out. It's so crazy.
I think that, kind of like, maybe it's just like inflation of like movies and stuff, but you hear about the budgets for like the Marvel movies and you forget how much money that is.
It's so crazy. And I mean, I always go back to the John Cusack tweet that I talk about, where it's just like, he basically said it's a lot easier for a production company to steal $1 million from a reported $250 million budget than a $10 million budget.
Yeah.
Which I think is totally it. I think it's just like a lot of money laundering sort of stuff. And like, you say it costs $300 million and you tell the IRS it costs $300 million and you have all these costs associated, and then you don't have to pay on the profits you make from it because there was so much cost up front. So it really behooves you to spend money, and sometimes behooves you to have losses. Like the Batgirl movie that was made and then never distributed or released in any way, even though I think it finished post-production, I'm pretty sure. And they were just like, yeah, we're not going to show it to anyone. Sorry, on that note, while we're talking about Warner Brothers, I would like to wage war. I would like to declare war.
Do we have a segment slide for waging war?
No, we don't. That's okay. This will all be under the welcome banner.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Title drop comes after.
Welcome to war. Yeah.
Welcome to war.
Welcome to
Overgrowth
war.
Press.
I'm waging war on Warner Brothers Media and the HBO Max streaming platform. Okay. They, for no reason that I can figure out other than saving file space or something, which can't be that much, they have removed Looney Tunes. Oh. And it's been reported on that they fully removed Looney Tunes, even though they have the entire rights to them and it cost them absolutely nothing to air them. They removed them from Max.
You're someone who would care about this.
Yes.
You love Looney Tunes.
The Looney Tunes.
You love Looney Tunes more than like any other. Well, okay, you're not like watching it all the time.
But
you talk about it a lot.
I never watch Looney Tunes.
No, but you talk about it a lot.
I like Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Why would they take it off?
I don't know.
Let the people watch it. You have it. You're Warner Brothers. They merged.
Yeah.
Let them watch Looney Tunes. Anyway, let them watch Looney Tunes and give your break up your $300 million Star Wars film and make 30 good movies out of it. I think like Get Out cost like $8 million and made $100 million at the box office.
It was awesome. And then, maybe this guy, the 47 Ronin director, like, he tried to steal $55 million from a $55 million production, and he got caught.
Too many.
He stole too many.
He could have easily taken $1 million.
Yeah, just get one Rolls Royce.
And then maybe Netflix won't contract you to do something again because they'll be irritated about it because they wanted that money.
He fumbled.
But you won't go to jail.
He fumbled the bag.
He fumbled the bag. Bruh. And his wife.
Oh, did you? Well, now he was already getting divorced when this happened.
It doesn't say when he started to get divorced. All right, you want to get into the theme of our episode here?
Yeah.
I haven't picked any of these photos. Emily found these online. For purposes unknown, actually. I didn't know if you were picking photos that you liked that you didn't like.
Well, I like these photos. Do you like these photos?
Yeah, I like this quite a bit. It's got an interesting composition to it. I'm gonna lean forward for a second, then come back and talk about it. It's like one of those photos that's very like line led. It's clean lines and a lot of repetition. It doesn't have a subject. It's obviously environmental, and the effect is the overall. Like your eye is kind of drawn to everything.
Yeah.
So it's meant to kind of be admired from
Yeah.
almost this perspective.
So
But this is something that jumped out at you
yeah,
on the internet.
There's a set. I chose 3. There are more, but I chose
Yeah.
3 that I liked.
Should I click through the other 2 quickly here?
Sure. I chose
Just for
3
us
that I
to
thought
look
kind
at
of go
them?
together.
So this is the second one here.
Yeah.
This is of a bathroom.
I
I'm
think this
guessing,
one's
are these all in the
cool.
same location? This
They
is my
are,
favorite of the 3.
yeah.
I've seen the others when I put them in the slides.
I thought you would like this one.
I like this one a lot. I love the shine on the sinks. It feels very kind of cinematic to me, like a scene that would happen in a place that no longer is. But a lot of the time in cinema, they decide to just put a regular scene in just like an interesting looking place for no
Yeah.
reason. It's a very smart thing to do.
What did you say? A place that was but no longer is?
Yeah, I just meant like I feel like this bathroom somewhere like this just doesn't exist anymore. Is
You're
kind of what I'm saying.
right.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Should
I
we
actually
look at the last one?
yeah, we'll click through. So this is like
I like this one maybe the most.
I like this one a lot too. And that's also kind of what I mean. Like this is like a seating arrangement you would only see like currently in a bowling alley. I feel
Fair,
like.
okay.
But at one time it reminds me of like Scarface, Goodfellas, like these places that like or like an old jazz club somebody would go and sit, and it would be like a place to go and be seen and also to enjoy yourself, but a very like
Yeah.
high-end bar of sorts
Yeah.
is the vibe that I get from these. But you know the story behind these photos and I do not. So.
What if I told you that these photos have a dark secret history?
Oh, well, I would I don't know that I would be surprised, but I wasn't expecting it.
So these are pictures that were taken in 2001 inside of the World Trade Center.
Are you serious? What? Why?
Why were they taken?
No, that's not my question at all.
What's your question?
Why did you put 3 photos of the fallen World Trade Centers as our photos to discuss today? That's my question.
Because I think they're really cool photos.
They are really good. Okay, all right, yeah.
These are
Recalibrating.
So these photos were taken by a guy named Konstantin Petrov, and he was an electrician that was hired to work in the World Trade Center, and he did like night shifts. So
No way.
these were taken at sunrise.
That's so cool. Wait,
Yeah.
is the light coming through here from
A
outside?
window, yeah.
That is so
So
sick.
I think
No way.
yes. So this was
These are really cool. Here, I'll flip back a little
Yeah.
bit so we can kind of keep.
these are
oops,
from like
looking
the
at 'em.
banquet halls inside of the World Trade Center in 2001.
That is so cool.
Um,
I
and
feel
sh-
bad that I said a place that used to be that doesn't exist anymore. Because that's
Fortunately.
But that is what I was thinking. I mean, even early, it's like you don't see a space like this. I feel
It looks like liminal in a way that's it's very crazy that this is where those were, because it's like any restaurant before open looks like this, you know?
sure.
But like it is like crazy just knowing.
But I will
everything,
say
you know?
something about like this sort of time period. People like when you look back at the 80s and 90s and even 60s and 70s, like contemporary stuff, everybody likes neutrals and muted colors, and things used to be a lot more
Colorful.
rich and colorful.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. It works really well in movies because something can be naturally lit and very, very colorful. Whereas now, typically, when something's naturally lit, it's very neutral looking, or it's like A24 style, and they colorize it by
Neon
lots of
almost,
neon,
yeah.
lots of like color floodlighting and stuff like that.
But I love one thing I really like about that third one, and you don't have to flip to it right now, but is this has such a like peachy
Yeah.
red color scheme, and then with like that red sunrise coming through. So this cafe, I'm not sure. I think that the name of like the restaurant in the building was the Window to the World.
Okay.
That's either the name of the restaurant or what he like called this collection of photos.
Okay.
Which either would make sense. But knowing that those lights are coming through windows, I mean,
That is
yeah.
really cool. No, I definitely assumed that this was like taken over maybe a day, and that it was like morning before opening because of the light coming through. bathroom whenever, and then that this was kind of like a nighttime post closing, and that's how like the lights were for effect there. But to know that
Yeah.
that was just from
Like a sunrise.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. And it's interesting because they don't look like a professional shoot, right?
Yeah.
They look like something I would take if I was in a
Yeah.
cool space. And I just think that that is so cool because this is a person who is not working with the world's nicest camera or, just like a lab for a magazine. Like this is not a magazine feeling picture, really. Any of these, like the blurred corners and all of that, they feel consumer camera
Yeah.
aesthetic, which I love, like not facetiously at all. Like I really love that look. It's what my photos look like. It's what my friends' photos look like. And the fact that he like came in and like carefully framed and shot these is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will click down here because they reminded me. This is way less, but this is a photo that I took in the bathroom of the
Gold bean.
San Marco Bowl game back when
Yeah.
it was open on like a Kodak Ultramax. And I remember thinking that of this as kind of being a nothing photo. This is when I was like a junkie for just shooting a frame, basically.
Yeah.
I was looking for anything that I could. I would walk around with my camera in my hands, looking for like anything I could frame and make interesting. Like I needed to click that shutter button, and I always remember getting this scan. I think this was when Ryan was still doing my film for me before I knew how to develop, and just thinking like, whoa, that one looks like really cool, and I don't know why, you know?
Yeah.
Like the textures and the lineup of it and the
Yeah.
contrast between the left and right side.
The
fact
texture, like through the mirror, is
is
really
really
interesting.
cool. Yeah. It's cool how different the reflected versus the real
Yeah.
texture is on it. And I also think it's way more interesting that there's hypothetically four kind of lampshades and bulbs in this picture. One of them is in focus. Really, only two are even seeable, and the one that's in focus is the furthest and smallest one, and that like my focus on that allowed the kind of base of the lamp here to be in focus in the real world too. And I guess maybe because it's also in like the bathroom of like a restaurant or something, it reminded me a
Yeah.
little bit of it, but also like kind of the reflective and repetitiveness of it reminded
Yeah.
me of it. Very differently composed, different tones, different colors, different textures, but also mine being like a consumer sort of thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel foreign to that shoot really.
No, yeah.
At
Did you
all.
pick this because of the photos I
Yeah, I
chose?
saw what you picked in there, and I
Very
was just
cool.
like, this reminds me of when I was seeing the bathroom. And I
Yeah.
was like, I went into a cool bathroom one time
Yeah.
and was like, how can I frame this in an interesting way? And I remember that was the only photo I took. You know, sometimes when I see a photo that I really want, I'll get like anxious about it and need to take it like 3 times at like different exposures, slightly different angles, and they all look exactly the same when you scan them. But I just like shot that once and I was like, that's probably not going to be anything. And it's funny because it's like a picture I think about all the time,
Really?
despite having like it in my mind after I took it being like, I probably just wasted a frame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy are much more obviously composed and really cool.
Yeah. He actually this has a sad ending too, but he passed away. I think like not that long after, like he was in like a motorcycle accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you know when they were taken?
They were taken in 2001.
They were? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's really wild. I love Emily's heard me talk about halation
Yeah.
to the end of time, but the kind of blooming effect that you'll get with film on the lights here. I mean, you can see them on the top lights there, but more in the sink basins. I think you get the kind of red effect on the extreme pinpointed
Yeah.
highlights. What that typically is the light that's so bright that it comes through the film, hits the back of the camera, and then hits the film again. And you'll see that a lot. Anybody who shoots film probably knows the brand Cinestill. They strip the anti-halation layers off of film stock that's meant for actual movie film. and so it allows for a lot more halation, and you'll get that effect a lot. But kind of in older film stocks, it's more prevalent, and I love that effect because it adds like it's really difficult to replicate digitally, and so it's a natural effect. It's not like a filter or anything forced. It's just like you're shooting on an imperfect thing, and the thing about film is that all of its imperfections make it interesting, and in so many other ways, all of the things that it's meant to do, it does better than anything digital photography does. So yeah, really good pull.
Yeah,
I love
thanks.
these. They're really cool.
It's really cool. This is like something that like I remember seeing them on Reddit like years ago and
Oh, really?
being like,
Oh,
oh,
interesting.
that's really
Cool.
because it's like I'd never thought about it. What did the inside look like? And then it's like, oh, there's like these insanely cool pictures of it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Sorry, but like how sometimes I learn like one thing about like something you're interested in. Like I learned one sports guy name.
Yeah.
And
Bam Adebayo.
yeah, so like, and then I'm always like, oh, is Bam Adebayo playing? Like, so I don't know. That is.
If I give Emily like, do you know any players on the New York Knicks? She'll be like, Bam Adebayo, because that's like the name of a
It's just
NBA
in
player that's
there.
stuck in her head.
But he played for the Heat.
He's always, I think he got drafted and has always played for them.
Oh, okay. So, but halation is the Bam Adebayo of film
cool.
for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm always like, oh, I know what halation is, and it's because of Collateral, I think.
Yeah,
Because
that
we
would make
watched
sense.
Collateral, and then we went around so that you could take photos on that Collateral film
Yes,
and try to get
absolutely.
that halation effect. So
After we watched Michael Mann's film Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, I watched it and I was like, this is the coolest looking movie I've ever seen. And then I read about it, and they had all these cool ways of like putting reflective paneling on the inside of the car to make their faces kind of glow naturally, because a lot of it shot just from the front to back of a car with them having a conversation with one in the front, one in the back. And the whole movie looks incredible. And I looked up the cinematographer's notes, and he shot on both film and digital. But because there was so much noise in the digital, he wanted to kind of match the grain of the film to the noise in the digital. So, and it was mostly at night anyway, so they really pushed the film. So they were basically like flooding them with light, underexposing them, and then overdeveloping them. And it came out looking super, super distinct. And this is a movie that people like either don't know, or probably like their dads know, or they're like a film nerd and they kind of like know. But it's like, it's an action flick, right?
Yeah.
Like, but it's like an action flick dripping with sauce.
yeah,
I think it's fair to say.
it's
Like,
really good.
it's really, really interesting. It's really cool, and it's got like a very like kind of like hyper emotionality to it in a way. And so I was like, I want to shoot a roll of film the way that Collateral was shot. So they shot it on Kodak Vision, I think maybe 500T film, underexposed it a certain amount and then pushed it a certain amount. I had those notes, so I got Cinestill 800T, which is the Kodak Vision 500T with the film layer stripped, and then went out and shot it and developed it in exactly the same way. And the colors came out really similar to the movie, and that was just so cool. Like, when I think of like, there's experimental photography that's like, let's put a drop of bleach into my whatever and see how it turns out, and that can all be cool too. It can produce cool effects. But there's also like, let me see if I can like replicate exactly what a
Yeah.
movie looked like by doing what they did. It works a lot better with older movies shot on film. I think that's a 2000s movie. New movies that are shot on film, they scan them so gray and they have so much latitude in them so that they can play with the contrast levels. So it might be harder to replicate a look exactly, because you'll maybe still end up like shooting it on film, but then like applying a LUT. Like, it doesn't really look like a LUT being an LUT, something that you place over to kind of tell the colors what to be.
Okay.
Almost. It's like a very, very, very high tech filter.
That
if
you
think of
do
it that way
when you're editing it.
when you're editing
Yeah,
something, and then you can kind of use it as a basis for your editing. And so, but yeah, I think that's a really fun way to experiment
Yeah,
with
it's
shooting
cool.
film.
I mean, it's kind of like reverse engineering something.
Totally.
It's like following a recipe and then putting your own twist on it.
Definitely. It's really, really cool that the cinematographer had a long written out interview that I could find online to read for that stuff. But yeah. Nice. Well, I love those, Em. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Camera equipment versus rifle equipment. Emily, we're in the South. When you read this, I feel like somebody who would maybe be listening to this in New York would be like, ugh. When I read this, I'm like, I wonder what this person's talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
I have no idea what equipment could be shared except for like...
We're not gun people literally at all, but it is kind of funny like that when I like read this, I'm like, okay, this is probably dumb, but it doesn't like ping my brain as being something that's like completely ridiculous.
New meaning to point and shoot.
I love that. That's what they should have titled it.
Yeah.
That's gripping.
Okay. Hey,
so
a grip too. They
and
both
a grip,
have a grip,
yeah,
right?
they've got a grip. There is a lot of.
They share names, but not general shape. So I'm interested to see what
Can
this
you
person
think,
wants.
before you read this, because I've read this, you haven't.
Okay.
Can you think of any equipment that might be similar between camera equipment and rifle equipment?
As is, no. But I could see them wanting to like basically put like a camera on something that they like put to like the butt of like a rifle to like stabilize it, you know? Or maybe they
like
find
a gimbal or something?
I'm imagining they have a workbench and they're taking apart a camera and a gun and trying to make them one thing.
Okay, is
that not what's happening here?
No, not at all.
Oh.
I'm going to be honest with you. That is not what's happening here.
Oh, okay.
I will read it for you here.
Okay.
Why is there not more shared accessories between firearms and photography? I recently got some neat little threaded plug attachments for my cameras that allow me to use my Magpul rifle QD swivel studs with my camera. It's been a total game changer as far as it's more comfortable than any camera strap I've ever tried. So, you know, when you have a rifle, you have something that you can carry it around you with.
Like a guitar strap.
Similar, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And you've got to strap with the camera.
Right.
Right? And it's more, this thing for him is more comfortable than any camera strap he's ever had. It got me thinking about similarities between my two hobbies. I've been looking at the very compact prison scopes that are available for rifles, and I'm not seeing much in camera lenses that are equivalent. The primary arm's 6 times prism scope, for example, is tiny compared to most 35mm camera lenses I've seen and should be about equivalent magnification. Is there something I'm missing about why we can't have super compact telephoto lenses using the same technology? I'm familiar with mirror lenses that offer high magnification in a compact package. It doesn't seem like the same image quality I get with the prism scopes, so I'm not sure if it's the same thing.
So, yes, we live in the South, but I know nothing about guns. So, I don't know.
Like a scope?
I know what a scope is.
Yeah.
But I'm... some of the technical terms, I'm like, I don't know what that is.
So, a 5x, it's like 5 times magnification, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Even a lens can have something in it that's a magnifier. There are certain ways that a lens will bend light to be kind of more cropped in on something, like an 80mm versus, you know. And then sometimes those will you can get a magnifier for that lens.
Okay.
So I could hypothetically buy a 2x magnifier to make my 50mm like a 100mm to get close-ups of wildlife photography or something like that. So this person's asking, why can't I have basically a lens that's as small and compact as this scope that I bought? Now, I had an immediate answer to this when I read it.
Okay.
And I know I'm much more technical about lenses, and I shoot and you don't, right? But like photography. Does anything jump out to you as being a reason that you couldn't have something this big on a camera front?
I imagine it wouldn't let in enough light.
In a sense, yes. And yeah, go.
Oh, the sensor.
Exactly. Go on, please. Yeah, This is great.
So it's too small
Yes.
for the sensor.
100%. That is what it is. Great answer.
Thanks.
So yeah, your eye is a tiny hypersensitive, unbelievably accurate sensor. And so you only need something this big because the sensor on your you're trying to hit the cones and rods in your eye, you're trying to hit your retina, and you only need to put a piece of light this big onto it.
Yeah.
So you can bend all that light to this. When you have a camera, your sensor is about, if you have even a crop sensor, it's kind of going to be about this big. And so you need to bend enough light to flare it out to hit the edges of that. And like that was like immediate when I read this, that's what popped into my head. And that was also in the comments. So people like let them know that.
Not a bad question.
Not a terrible question, but I have to say, like, also, I'm sure like a lot of kind of the lens crafters who work on camera lenses probably also share at least research or advancements in glass or anything like that with people who do scopes and binoculars and all of that, because it's a real craftsmanship, the way that glass is like made and bent and thickened in certain areas. And there are 5-element lenses, 7-element lenses, 12-element lenses that people have figured out good formulas for getting a certain like optical kind of precision and a good level of distortion out of a certain formula for bending the light kind of back and forth in this certain way.
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, we made it so the corners aren't so stretched now and it doesn't distort as much in the middle and all of that. And you have to imagine that with probably as big as both industries are and the people trying to make good products in both industries, that they're looking at each other, if not directly coordinating with each other.
Someone who's like a lens scientist, that's their thing. They're not necessarily specific to camera lens,
right?
I
think of the guy who made I don't remember his name, but who made the kind of like tubular lens to film the fire in Oppenheimer, and how he made that lens to be able to be that small and then flare that wide to hit a 70 millimeter piece of film for Oppenheimer. And Christopher Nolan was like, he's basically just a masterful artist of the way to bend light, that he could capture this in this amount of detail in this shape.
He's coming for Thomas Kincaid.
He's a painter of light in a more real sense.
I want to go back to my original idea for this post.
And yes, I think that we should, because I was also kind of disappointed.
I thought of basically a whole movie idea, which is imagine, like, what's that movie where they like trained the oil drillers how to be astronauts?
Armageddon.
Okay. So kind of like similar situation where they like have to train like the best shooter in the world, like gun shooter, like a sniper, to go take some really rare like wildlife photography, but he can only shoot when it's like a gun, and so they have to like find a way to attach the camera to the gun so he can be
that
like,
is so
there,
interesting that's where your mind goes, because my mind goes to the absolute reverse of that,
which is a camera that kills someone.
No, like the military needs an impossible sniping job done, and so they go to like the world's best photographer who gets like the angles and stuff nobody else can get, captures things that like are moving at like a bullet speed on camera somehow.
Well, I think like what really makes a movie is when these two characters come together, because yours is going to be like, well, you're not going to be able to get enough light in that area. You're going to need a 3.8 aperture lens, and then my guy's like, English, please.
No, your guy goes like, how much light you need with these on, and he puts on like the goggles,
using like the night vision goggles to take a picture when there's not enough light.
I like that guy.
Yeah, just like your picture's green now.
All right, we'll write it.
Okay, yeah.
So next episode will
be a movie episode.
It'll be a movie that we've made and shot completely. I was like thinking like it would be awesome if this guy, like, in the new Jason Statham movie that we're probably definitely going to see on Thursday, how he's like got a Bluetooth screen that's connected to his gun, so he can just hold his gun over a wall and shoot guys with it. And looking at it in the trailer.
That was in the trailer, yeah.
And that's kind of what I was thinking this guy was talking about. Like,
because
you can have like a Bluetooth going from like your camera to your phone. Like, why don't we attach a camera to a gun?
Why can't I shoot my gun with Bluetooth? right
can't I
next to
set
my
up a
Ring camera, just have a
turret in
gun.
my lawn that just sees if anybody's walking into my yard and kills
If
them?
someone is trying to steal my Amazon package,
Why can't I shoot them
when
while
I
I'm
can-
not home?
Yeah.
I have to be home to shoot somebody for
you have to be
stealing
home
my...
to stand your ground in Florida.
Exactly. I have to stand my ground?
This is messed up. Give me back my Elon Musk poem. I have some more stuff to add.
We'll add it. We'll read it at the next one. I have to stand my own ground.
I can't, yeah.
I can't get my properties to stand my ground,
Yeah.
to stand its own ground for it. I can't get my ground to stand itself.
You know how, like, there's a different level of crime for if you break and enter when someone's home versus when they're not.
Like one's like burglary.
Yeah.
And then one's breaking and entering.
Right.
Yeah.
But like getting your like Bluetooth Ring camera to count as a person. So it's like, I felt scared because I could see it on my Bluetooth camera.
Don't give them ideas, Emily.
Okay, you're right.
Do it. Corporations are people. My Alexa is a
Right. person. You have to say please and thank you.
My Alexa told me she felt threatened.
My Alexa's a person. Give Alexa a gun.
All right, I have another
Okay.
photo-based thing for you.
Okay.
It's not photo-based, but it mentions
Why
photos.
are you saying it then? Okay.
It came up when I was searching. So this is for you as a counselor.
Okay.
This person is like, don't read ahead because you're a faster
I
reader.
won't read ahead.
So I'll
won't.
read this to you.
Okay.
I'm like 99% sure my sister is a psychopath.
Okay.
Okay, you're a counselor. You know all about psychopaths.
Oh my God. It's
You
like,
see them every
every
day.
single day.
Yeah, you can identify one. I specify with psychopath and not sociopath because she wasn't abused.
Okay.
Can you break this down for me, please?
So that's not what makes the difference.
And I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Is there anything on that at all, or is this just something somebody read online at some point and now has like...
That you can only be a sociopath if you've been abused?
It sounds to me like they think like a sociopath is learned and psychopath is born. That's what that reads as to me. You know?
I don't know what the real science on that is, but I understand. But no, the difference between those is not that or that it came from abuse.
Okay, what is the difference? And I also have a question because I learned from the show Hannibal, which is how I learned most of what I know of the human mind. There is something at the beginning of that show that like one of the characters goes like, are you really using the term like sociopath? Like that's so like fake and outdated in such a media construction. And I was wondering, is that true?
So both describe behavior, but neither are an actual diagnosis.
Okay.
So you can't be a diagnosed like psychopath or sociopath. They're probably describing someone who has antisocial personality disorder, which is like, like patterns of manipulative behavior, like not necessarily difficulty in relationships from their perspective, but like manipulative in relationships. The people in relationships with them often have a hard time.
So it's more like, there's obviously something that like is broken inside the brain of somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer or something that is like really, but it's like, is that sort of thing maybe just so uncommon that it's like we don't really have a thing for that thing? Because it's not like something like people are coming in and doing clinical studies of and stuff like that. Like
totally,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think there are people that like can live under the radar with a small amount of this. You know?
Yeah.
But the
I think
difference
this person's sister might be one.
Well, they're 99% sure.
99.
But basically the difference is a sociopath, someone that's described as that, it's more like emotional outbursts, impulsive behavior that like is damaging. And then psychopath is more of like the like kind of Patrick Bateman, like cold and calculated and like
Okay.
very like no like empathy,
So can I tell you how in my brain they're different?
Yeah.
Not based on science. A sociopath is like, a little bit more like I'm a sociopath, and a psychopath is like I'm a psychopath.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess let's
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll find out.
Yeah.
This one's a psychopath.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip ahead. This is kind of long. She has been banned from stores for shoplifting.
Okay.
She seems completely normal. Like she experiences emotions, but she acts Like she doesn't have any interests, and she's never seen her display real empathy.
Okay.
They're very close, and they can fight in each other a lot. She's always laughing or bragging about her deviance. She's bragging about her deviance.
She's bragging about
Is
it.
there something more evil somebody can do in life than bragging about their own damn deviance?
When people brag about their deviance, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
you're a bad person for
I
bragging.
know two people who have had deviated septums, and they both got them fixed, and they weren't proud of them beforehand.
Right. Imagine if they were bragging about it.
They didn't even brag about getting them fixed. Shout out Sam. Shout out my dad.
A lot of shout outs this episode.
Yeah.
I'm very curious how this is going to go back to photography.
So she is a photographer, or as a hobby, she does photography. And I was looking in her room for something, and I found a ton of pictures of dead birds. I'm not sure if she unalived those birds or if she found them that way, or IDK. What the whole thing is starting to make me nervous. Nervous about her in particular. So what are your thoughts? Is this normal? Am I just overreacting, or should I tell my parents? Because I feel like I should tell my parents. So,
sorry, how old is this person?
they're 5 years old.
Yeah, you should tell your
No, I'm
parents.
just kidding. I have no idea how old they are. I would. You give me your perspective, and I'll give you mine, because you're the expert. So I'll have the last word.
Okay, so I don't think that having pictures of dead birds is totally normal.
Okay. Yeah. Can I give you my photographer perspective?
Yeah.
As an artist, nothing is more important from the frame than the frame.
Okay.
So if you have to kill a bird,
Uh-huh.
or
You're not a psychopath, you're just an artist.
you're an artist.
Well,
kill
if
a bird.
what if it's a seabird?
It's bad luck, but for the art, you know, if you have to kill a bird, if you have to kill a dog, a cat, a person,
Stop.
for the frame,
Oh my
for
gosh.
the art.
This does sound like your sister probably does need some help with impulse control.
It's basically this. Oh, the fat man doesn't want me to something. And then Brian's like, I'm working on my screenplay. And then Peter's like, Lois. And Lois is like, Peter. And then Megan's like, Dad. And then Chris is like, Dad.
Who's Chris?
The son.
Which one's the dog?
Brian.
Oh,
Brian's the dog.
okay.
Brian's the writer.
And why is the baby British?
He's evil.
Oh, so he's British.
He's like a evil genius baby.
Okay.
So he's British. Yeah.
Okay.
And he and Brian are like best. They like they're pals.
Okay. Him
The baby and the
dog
dog are pals.
Yeah.
The dog is Seth MacFarlane's self-insert character.
The dog is?
He like has
he
Seth
voices
MacFarlane.
all of them?
No, he voices he voices I'm gonna put this at the end of the episode, like after we say goodbye. He voices Brian, Stewie, Peter, Quagmire.
That's a person?
Giggity, giggity, giggity. All right.
Okay.
Quagmire is like a sex freak.
Oh, that's like a
his
type
trait.
of rock, right?
A what?
A type of rock. Like mineral. A quagmire, right?
Oh, I only know it as like a situation you get yourself into that
Oh.
it's difficult to get out
Or
of.
like a swamp.
I think it's more like that.
Okay.
Like a
I'm
mire,
thinking of a
a
quarry.
type of mire. Yes.
Okay.